Let's get this straight. Davenport wants the Super Bowl or bust Cowboys to trade for the Steelers' scraps. He's acknowledged that Jaylen Warren is the superior runner to Harris and that Harris isn't a game wrecker, and yet he thinks this would be a good move for Dallas. The dots do not connect whatsoever. Welcome to the Big D Breakdown. I'm your host, Larry Lease, and welcome to Big D Breakdown, sponsored by Fanatics. If you're looking for the best place to get yourself some Dallas Cowboys merch, check out Fanatics today. Use the link in the description. And without further ado, let's dive into today's first topic. The recent Justin Jefferson extension has saved the Cowboys from a nightmare CeeDee Lamb scenario. Jerry Jones asked and the NFL answered. The Dallas Cowboys owner said before the draft that he wanted to see more leaves fall before offering extensions to quarterback Dak Prescott and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, both of whom are entering their final year of their current contracts. Since Jones's demand, Jared Goff has altered the scope of the quarterback market and thus complicated Prescott's future with the Cowboys. Meanwhile, the wide receiver market has exploded. Marquee talents like A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith have all inked contracts worth at least $24 million per year. Both Browns managed to surpass the elusive $30 million per year Lamb mark. Despite all the wide receiver movement, it's long felt like Lamb has been waiting for Justin Jefferson's extension leaf to fall. Well, Lamb's wish was granted on Monday when Jefferson signed the largest contract for a receiver in NFL history. Vikings and Jefferson agreed to a 4-year, $140 million deal that includes $110 million guaranteed. Jefferson is now the highest paid non-quarterback in league history, both in terms of annual average value at $35 million and guarantees. Jefferson's deal allows the Cowboys to put the pedal to the metal with Lamb's extension with mandatory minicamp starting later this week. Jefferson and Lamb were both drafted in 2020 and their respective stats are almost identical. In fact, Lamb has Jefferson beat in multiple categories, including catches and touchdowns. Lamb has also been more effective as a runner, 43 rushing attempts to Jefferson's 12, and has more upside on special teams, 358 career return yards to Jefferson's 0. Jefferson is widely regarded as the best receiver in football, but Lamb isn't far behind. In fact, these numbers prove Lamb is knocking on the door. Going head-to-head, CeeDee Lamb is 3-0, with Jefferson 0-3. 66 games to Jefferson's 60, an AV of 53 to Jefferson's 49. Receptions, CeeDee Lamb 395 to Jefferson's 392, and 5,200 yards for CeeDee Lamb to Jefferson's nearly 5,900 yards. Receiving touchdowns 32 to Jefferson's 30. Rush attempts 43 to Jefferson's 12. The Cowboys owe Minnesota a huge thank you for getting Jefferson's deal done. While Dallas and Lamb have been entrenched in negotiations, David Moore of the Dallas Morning News reported that Lamb was waiting for this specific deal to really ramp up talks. Talks between the Cowboys and Lamb are expected to speed up in light of Jefferson's deal. With Lamb still digging his heels in a contract holdout, this is the best news possible for Dallas. Prior to Monday's news, training camp was floated as a likely timeline for Lamb's deal to get finalized. Now an agreement could be reached as early as this week. It's unclear if Lamb cares much for the fines that come with missing mandatory minicamp practices, but he'd be subjected to a $100,716 fine if he misses the 3-day camp. The Cowboys could reduce or rescind the penalty, but it's another variable to watch regardless now that Jefferson has made history. So we want to know from you, should Dallas keep CeeDee Lamb or should we trade him away? And is he worth re-signing if we go? And now on to our next topic. The Cowboys made a strange, unhinged move for an out-of-favor AFC star. In this trade, idea reeks of desperation. The Dallas Cowboys need a more balanced offense in 2024. A running game is only as good as a team's offensive line, and though the Cowboys lost Tyron Smith, they drafted his replacement, Tyler Guyton, with their first-round pick. It remains to be seen how he will perform in year one, but third-rounder Cooper Beebe should move mountains for the rushing attack. He is arguably the most physical and strongest player that Dallas has ever deployed at center. He should be a dominant run blocker from the jump. The Cowboys need their offensive line to perform well because they're completely devalued the running back position. Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, and Royce Freeman form one of the least inspiring running back rooms in football, which is why Dallas fans are imploring the team to trade for an upgrade. Some potential targets include the Panthers' Miles Sanders, the Texans' Damian Pierce, and the Bears' Khalil Herbert. But Bleacher Report's Gary Davenport think the Cowboys should make a move for one AFC back in particular, Najee Harris of the Steelers. So the Dallas Cowboys would receive Najee Harris. The Steelers would receive 2025 conditional pick. Harris may not be a game changer, but he's a durable chain mover. And given the Cowboys' win-now mentality, conditional pick for Harris that could escalate based on performance is a reasonable cost, even if it's just a one-year rental. Let's get this straight. Davenport wants the Super Bowl or bust Cowboys to trade for the Steelers' scraps. He's acknowledged that Jaylen Warren is the superior runner to Harris, and that Harris isn't a game wrecker, and yet he thinks this would be a good move for Dallas. The dots do not connect whatsoever. Harris averaged a career-high 4.1 yards per carry last season. Let that sink in. Behind the same offensive line, Warren logged 5.3 yards per carry. Harris may be durable and hard to bring down, but his vision is arguably the worst of any starting running back. That would explain his 3.9 career yards per rush. Throw in the fact that Harris is 26 years old and already has 834 carries, and this trade idea makes even less sense. He's also entering a contract year. Yes, Harris would be an upgrade over Elliott and Dallas's other running backs, but that isn't saying much. There's a reason the Steelers may look to move him before the new season, and the Cowboys traded similar draft capital last offseason for Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks, both of whom are actually win-now players. Dallas would be better off trading for any of the running backs mentioned above, or simply rolling into this season with their current stable of rushers. Even for a conditional pick, Harris isn't worth it. But I want to know what you guys think. Am I overreacting, or is Harris an okay pick to make right now in order to upgrade the running backs? Let me know. And now on to our next topic. There's a Cowboys quarterback that's turning heads at OTAs, and it ain't Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys have once again dragged their feet with Dak Prescott's extension, while CeeDee Lamb is expected to sign a new deal first. Everything the Cowboys have said regarding Prescott's future and looming free agency hints that an agreement will be reached before the upcoming season. Despite that, there's a large contingent of Cowboy fans and NFL analysts who believe that Prescott could reach free agency. Nothing about that would benefit Dallas. Not only would it leave the Cowboys without a starting caliber quarterback, but Prescott would leave behind $40 million in dead money if he hasn't signed an extension by next March. Despite his contract uncertainty, Prescott has led by example during OTAs. Of course, that's the expectation for a quarterback entering his 8th season. The real interest regarding the position this summer surrounds the battle for the backup job. While it's way too early to say who's winning the backup role, Trey Lance has been all the rage ahead of his second year in Dallas. Both Prescott and Mike McCarthy have spoken glowingly of Lance since the offseason program started. McCarthy revealed last week that the team altered Lance's throwing motion to improve his timing on routes. The small tweak is already paying off for the former 3rd overall pick. The Cowboys are obviously high on Lance's potential. It's why they traded a 2024 4th-round pick for him last August. The deal hasn't aged well, but his first season was about learning McCarthy's offense with the hope that he would supplant Cooper Rush as the backup this year. Many reporters have taken note of Lance's renewed confidence. Lance himself has admitted to being in a different place mentally, physically, and spiritually this offseason. Getting benched and then traded as a former top 3 pick likely did a number on his mental. Taking the 2023 season to sit back and learn under Prescott seems to have done wonders for Lance's future outlook. Whether that translates to a strong training camp and preseason remains to be seen, but the way McCarthy and Prescott have raved about Lance makes it seem like the 24-year-old won't be denied. And now on to our next topic. Cowboys made a genius coaching hire out of nowhere thanks to their new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer. The Cowboys, the calendar has almost turned, or I should say the calendar has changed to June, and the best move of the Dallas Cowboys offseason may have been the hiring of Mike Zimmer as defensive coordinator. While the Cowboys draft class has fans excited, Zimmer can make the single biggest impact of any offseason addition. Even though OTAs are only a week old, Zimmer is already making a difference in Dallas. For starters, he had a major influence in the signing of Eric Kendricks, who originally agreed to terms with the 49ers. Zimmer has also stated that the Cowboys will play 3 linebackers. Dan Quinn only deployed 2 linebackers in his scheme, and he's having Mozzie Smith return to his Michigan playing weight and convert back to a nose tackle after he was strangely used as an uphill pass rusher as a rookie. The Zimmer hype train doesn't appear to be stopping anytime soon. On top of working wonders with Dallas's defensive personnel, Zimmer has seemingly helped the team make a sneaky genius coaching hire out of the blue. A former nose tackle with the Bengals while Zimmer was their defensive coordinator, Damana Pico shared a video to Instagram that showed him working with the Cowboys defensive line at OTAs. It's unclear if he has joined Zimmer's staff in a full-time capacity, but it's encouraging nonetheless that he's coaching up Dallas's defensive tackles. He was a full-time starter under Zimmer in Cincinnati for 6 seasons from 2008 to 2013 before Zimmer was hired as Vikings head coach in 2024. Former fourth-round pick, Cleary has a full grasp of what Zimmer expects from his nose tackles. Now 39 years old, he has spent 16 years in the NFL, most of it as a starter, before he retired following the 2020 season. It's hard to think of a better mentor for Mozzie Smith, who's now recovering from off-season shoulder surgery, as he aims to bounce back from a full rookie year. While Smith needs to improve, the Cowboys' nose tackles as a unit are very inexperienced. They drafted Clemson's Justin Rogers in the 7th round to develop as a one-tech prospect. Meanwhile, Illinois run stopper Denzel Jackson was signed as an undrafted free agent. Even if he has only taken up an advisory role, he has a wealth of experience under Zimmer and in successful NFL defenses. With Dallas's defense undergoing significant changes offseason, both in terms of personnel and scheme, his presence will allow for a smoother transition. This is just the latest evidence that the Cowboys' defense is in good hands under Zimmer. And now we're going to take a look at 3 UFL players the Dallas Cowboys should bring to training camp. There are some UFL players who the Cowboys should consider bringing with them to this season's training camp. As summer is here and we creep ever so slowly to the start of the NFL year, another talent pool of players is just wrapping up their season. The newly created United Football League is heading into its playoffs, and ending the season opens a chance for some players who may still be looking to make the NFL. Stephen Jones likes to remind us that talent acquisition is a 24/7 business. As we currently sit, the Cowboys have certain needs. With a new group of guys to ponder, let's take a look at 3 names that can make sense for the Cowboys to bring to Oxnard, California with them. Dallas is 2-2 when it comes to finding spring league talent. Whether it's Cavante Turpin 2 seasons ago or Brandon Aubrey in 2023, the Cowboys know what they're doing when it comes to these additions. We take a look at 3 names that may make sense for the Cowboys to continue their recent success. Jacob Sailors, running back from St. Louis Battlehawks. The running back room for the Cowboys is a head-scratcher right now. With Ezekiel Elliott back in the fold, Rico Dowdle looking to be more heavily involved, and a list of other intriguing options to work through in training camp, the Cowboys could have a chance to add another intriguing piece to the group to bring to Oxnard. Sailors has been super productive this year for the Battlehawks, and despite missing a game during the 10-game regular season, he still leads the league in rushing yards with 461 on 94 carries, 4.9 yards a carry. Add in his 5 touchdowns and a long of 57 yards, Sailors may be an intriguing addition to this training camp roster. Next up, Breland Speaks, DL from the Michigan Panthers. Speaks is a former Dallas Cowboys signee who was on the team's practice squad for a brief time, so there is already familiarity there for the player and the team. Doesn't hurt that there is less depth at the pass rusher position for the Cowboys than in the years past, which may make him an intriguing add. Speaks is coming off a regular season where it finished with 9.5 sacks in 10 games, as well as 32 total tackles and 13 tackles for loss. He was dominant against the spring league competition, and while he may never turn into a dominant force in the league, it's clear that he belongs talent-wise. Add him to the mix for training camp and see if he can't earn his way onto the roster once again. And Willie Harvey, linebacker from, once again, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Linebacker is another one of the intriguing spots on the Cowboys roster. There's some young talent to feel good about, but is the depth and competition there enough? It may be worth bringing in the best linebacker in the UFL for a look. Harvey was a force to be reckoned with this year, finishing with 78 total tackles, the best in the league, and 4 sacks to go along with 9 tackles for loss. New defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer is going to want instinctual linebackers with proven production who can fly around and make plays. Harvey has proven in the UFL that he is capable of doing so, and for that alone, he deserves at least an invite to training camp to see if he can help upgrade the room. Let us know your thoughts on these 3 players. Would you bring them all in, or is there 1 or 2 that you'd bring in? Let us know. And of course, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to be notified of future videos. And if you want to support the channel, buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. That's buymeacoffee.com/thebigd. Your support helps goes directly back into this channel, helps us grow our channel, create even more content, bring in new hosts, be able to pay them, and hopefully one day take this show on the road. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.